cureme.ca. And Dennis, great to have you on the show.
Thank you.
So I understand that you're a homeopathist?
A homeopath, yeah.
Homeopath,
Yeah.
okay. I'm not sure what the difference is there, but and I also understand you have a unique approach.
Yes.
So let's get into it. What tell us about your practice?
Basically, my practice is around recovering health, and really what I do is I recover people's health. I give them a second chance for health.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean? Do you mean after they've gone to see traditional medicine? Is that what that means?
99% of the people that come to me have gone through everything.
So you're a last resort?
I'm a last resort, yeah.
Okay, okay. That's got to make you feel real good.
The success rate is making me feel good, yeah.
Good,
okay.
awesome.
It really is my patients that make me function, basically. Yeah.
Well, we hear more and more about doctor-induced or healthcare system-induced illness, and I've got some personal stories in my family that I could tell you about. I'm not going to here right now, but I mean, people are, you know, we hear stories about it. So these are people.
It's so common now that we don't even call it healthcare anymore. We call it sick care.
Well, also because
Right.
because of the drugs, it's like
Yeah.
you know, like that's the only thing they do is give drugs. And tell us, I'd like to know your story, how you got into should I say homeopathy or.
Yes.
Yeah, how did you get into it? What drew you to it?
Basically, I was sick for 45 years. Asthma, bronchitis, pneumonia, and a huge cycle that way. The reason I really got into it is because I was treated for homeopathy, and I had about a 50% success in getting rid of all of those things. From that point of view, I started to treat myself, and 8 years later, I have none of it. I haven't been to a doctor in 8 years.
So what do you
no
attribute
asthma,
that
no
to?
bronchitis, no.
Do you think that that's just the homeopathy, or do you think some of that is a shift in your attitude, or?
I think it all has something to do with it.
Okay.
You know, even the 30% placebo effect, I think has a lot to do with it. We're naturally set up as an organism to recover.
A self-healing organism.
So when you say the 30% placebo effect, you mean just by thinking you're going to get better?
Yeah, there is that potential. You know, people will use all sorts of things, but usually what happens is it only lasts for 3 to 6 months, then wears off.
Okay, so maybe I'd like to get you to define homeopathy, if you could, for people that may not know what it is or not know exactly what it is.
Yeah. Homeopathy is about 200 years old. And basically, if we can draw comparisons, it's we have a pharmacy, just like the medical practice has a pharmacy.
Okay.
Okay. From that perspective, we just understand that it's delivered differently.
And it also, the pharmacy is not necessarily drugs, like the medical. It's herbs or something, isn't it?
Well, in both cases, pharmaceuticals came from natural products,
but they're not in their natural form, correct? Their whole form.
Right, because they had to do it from a mass population standpoint,
And a
business
money-making.
standpoint. They re-engineered it.
Okay. Now, a homeopathy pharmacy is made up of?
Natural ingredients from the earth, basically.
In their whole form.
Some are in whole. Some
Okay.
are, you know, you'll get remedies that have 2 parts to them or 3 parts to them
Okay.
that make
Okay.
that whole.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Wow.
Now, what? I know you were trying to heal yourself. And what was it about homeopathy that drew you to it, versus some of the other methodologies out there?
It was strange. I was pointed this way because I studied Kung Fu. My master was a Shaolin monk, and he's the one that said, well, why don't you try homeopathy? Because at that point I was changing careers, changing direction.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, what's that?
Mm-hmm.
And he said, well, go and...
Did you have asthma at the time, at this
Yes.
point? Okay. Okay. That must have really impacted your Kung Fu as well.
It was, in any sport or any exertion, it was definitely a challenge. But, you know, I'm the type of person that ran cross country in high school, but, you know, totally collapsed at the end.
So you just grin and bear it.
that was my life.
Okay, now, so the program that you do now where you're really getting people to get healthy,
Yep.
whether they're just suffering a little or maybe suffering from some serious debilitating illness. Did you develop this program yourself after you became a homeopath?
Yes. I've developed it over the last 8 years. And basically, I did it on myself. I was the first patient. And because of that, I wanted to see if I could duplicate it. And since then, I've been duplicating it over and over again. Out of the duplication, you become aware of what's really happening.
Yes.
Because recovering health, we don't really necessarily think about that in a way of that it happens.
So Dennis, what is unique? Because at the top we said that yours is a little different than
Yeah.
traditional homeopathic doctors.
Yeah.
How do you?
Different. All it really is an awareness of what happens. The remedies are the same.
Okay.
It's how you use the remedies and how long. Somebody comes in with me to me with some sort of disease state. I have to ask them, "Do you have 2 years to do this?"
2 years.
To recover your health, because we're really running. We're getting the body to back up and treat itself.
And it takes.
So it's going to take a
years.
while.
It takes 2 years to get the systems running properly.
Now, what if they don't have 2 years? What if you have? Do you ever have anyone who is critical, perhaps a cancer patient? Do
Yes.
you do, and maybe they've been given 6 months to live?
Right.
So what do you do in a situation like that?
I have to allow them to make that decision because really, there's really not much I can do at that point.
Because the homeopathic approach is more of a long-term approach than a critical care or an
acute.
immediate fix-it-now kind of approach.
Well, it just depends on the homeopath. From my perspective, I recover health and I need time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, but having said that, even a person who perhaps has maybe 6 months to live, you can still help increase the quality of that 6 months, can you? Or is there nothing you can do?
Well, at that point, I say we can try what I do, but I do need at least a year to see change,
Yeah.
and 2 years to complete the change.
Yeah.
Now, how much is belief a factor? What if they come to you and they think, I believe I can kick this thing, so the 6 months perhaps can maybe buy me time for another 6 months? Have you seen things like that happen?
I have seen those things.
I guess miracles, I guess.
And I don't interpret them. I really can't. I don't know what's happened. I don't think anybody does. If the individual gets to the point where it's in remission.
Oh, that's true. Can go into remission, yes.
Yeah.
And have you seen that happen yourself?
No.
Okay.
Not,
okay.
no.
Okay.
Usually the outcome is the way that I see it.
Okay. So is it fair to say, sorry Hugh, do you have a question?
Of course I
Okay,
do, but
you
you
can
go
go.
ahead. Go.
Okay, one more question, and then it's yours. Is it fair to say, Dennis, that you use intuition in this? Is that what makes you more unique, perhaps, than just, because it sounds to me like when you say that awareness factor, that you're bringing some intuition along the way.
I think it's like anything that you do in life. You just become experienced in seeing it.
Oh,
And
okay.
once you start seeing it over and over again, it really becomes more of a natural thing to eliminate, when a patient comes in, you usually, as a practitioner, you have to get through the shock value. This is what I have. They try and shock you. If you can see beyond that, that's only experience.
Okay.
So let's talk about the process. Somebody comes to see you. Typically, what kind of condition are they in? And then what is the process of taking them from whatever that, state of ill health is to being getting healthy again?
Right. I get everything. Anything that the body can produce as a response or an illness or whatever, that's what comes in the door. It also depends. There's a lot of things because I treat both sides. There's a very big mind emotional side of things to a disease state, as well as the physical. Okay, and really I have to consider what I'm looking at.
So you have to ask a lot of questions, and
I usually take about an hour and a half, and I usually have a pretty good picture
to find
of
out what's
that person.
going on, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally.
Yeah.
And then what do you do? I mean,
Well,
I got a
then-
spiritual issue, but well, what should I take for that?
I don't, again, I'm not interpreting spiritual issues
Okay.
because I think that's the individual,
Mhm.
right? All I'm trying to do is get the body to respond. When a person comes in that's ill, that means that their body's not responding.
Yes.
I just need that response.
Mm.
And
So who comes to see you? What kinds of issues do you deal with?
I get people with heart conditions,
Okay.
post and pre surgery. I get people with scoliosis. I get people that have been abused, have been in the middle of wars, all sorts of things.
So, and how about people who just want to maintain, or how about, do you deal with women who are pregnant who think, well, maybe when they find out they're pregnant, I want to go to build a stronger system, and they're not necessarily ill?
Yeah.
Do you get more? Do you get any people who are proactive rather than reactive? I guess is what I'm asking.
Yes. Usually when it comes to that, they're coming in because they can't get pregnant.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
And or they're thinking about children and they want their body,
In
running
shape. Okay.
at top form. If somebody comes in and is pregnant, I
Mhm.
tell them to wait until after, because they're really, for me, their body
Okay.
is healthy. They've got they've
If
got
it
the
ain't broke.
processes. Yeah.
Okay.
And let's see what happens after the pregnancy.
Okay.
Okay.
So how about things like, okay, you know what, I just don't want to get a cold this winter, or a replacement for the flu vaccine. How about things like that? Do you do things like that?
Well, it's all the same thing. As my program works, the body becomes more efficient.
Okay.
Therefore, you get a better response.
Okay.
So in the case of a flu, usually if your body's not responding, you'll get 5 days that you live with the bacteria, and the bacteria lives with you, builds up a party central, starts going, and then the next 5 days, the body goes, what's
What
that?
the
We
heck
can't
is
have
this?"
the party here.
Mhm.
And the body goes into, like a crash mode,
Kicking everybody out of the house.
Right, fevers, aching, you get leveled by it. And then the next 5 days after that is the recovery state.
Okay.
So if the person is of age, I'll tell them to go get the flu shot. If
When you
there's
say of age, you mean
children-
a senior, right?
A senior.
Okay.
And again, that's a huge debate on when are you a senior, right? At
Mhm.
50,
Yes.
60, 70, 90.
Well, since 70 is the new 50, probably when you're 100.
Yeah. We are living longer.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's more about response mechanism. If I have
Okay.
a sick kid that has a autoimmune problem going on, I'll tell them to go get the flu shot,
Mhm.
because you don't want their body to have to struggle with the flu at the same time.
Mhm.
So you really work in conjunction with traditional, or with the conventional, not traditional, but conventional medicine. Because there are some homeopaths that will say, no, don't
Right.
even get the flu shot.
Right.
It's toxic to your system.
Well, if I just go back to my own history, I was treated pharmaceutically by doctors. And for me, a lot of times that was life and death.
Mhm.
And that was the medicine that got me through.
Mhm.
Okay.
So I can't
So
argue
there's a
that.
place for it.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Absolutely, there's a place.
I like the approach. It's about working together and not in place of, but
Right.
working in tandem with.
There is no one right way, but if you use both systems, it can work beautifully, actually.
Okay.
Wow.
So again, how is your practice different from, say, other homeopaths?
From the understanding and the program that I run.
Okay. No.
Most homeopaths aren't organized enough to understand the fact that it takes time for that body to heal. And the medical side too. Most doctors are treating things on acute, but they don't have the time and the time spent on understanding the fact that the body needs time to heal.
Well, and that's true too, because it is a bit of a shock when, to come in and hear, okay, well, do you have 2 years? I mean, a lot of people, I think, as a homeopath or doctor that would say that would be afraid they'd lose their customer. So you don't want to say that.
That's right.
Right? So right off the top, you risk them going to somebody else who's not going to say that.
That's right.
Right?
Now, are there still a lot of? Do you still encounter a lot of people that are maybe not really aware of what homeopathy is, or I mean, you're willing to work with conventional doctors and the medical system, but what about doctors? Do you encounter doctors or people in the medical profession that are a little reticent to deal with homeopaths?
That's a two-part question. Yes, most people don't know what homeopaths are. We've been around for 200 years. We got the worst PR ever.
You need to hire a good PR team.
That's right. But it's on the flip side. Doctors are so busy they can't even consider anything else other than what they're doing. They are overworked.
Okay.
So it seems like it would be another department or that would try to bring all these integrative type medicines.
It's starting
modalities
slowly.
together.
The Ontario government has done a wonderful job of trying to integrate a lot of different types of options for people.
But it's still not covered by OHIP, and it's still not covered by people's.
I don't think that the
plans.
government wants to be in OHIP anymore. So
Yeah.
I think that my personal view is that they want to get out of it.
Yeah. So if anything, it's going to go the other way.
Which means that we're all going to be responsible for our health,
Right.
which is what we really should be anyway.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
People can maybe start to think about taking a more long-term
Yes.
approach to health rather than dealing with sickness in an acute way.
Yeah. And if it does come up, then there's options.
Okay. What else do we need to know about this, Dennis, that maybe we haven't asked you about?
I know
that,
one. There's no side effects, right?
That
don't
is
know.
the popular belief.
Uh-oh. Shatter my image.
It's homeopathy has had the idea that there are no side effects. There are side effects.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
When I treat somebody, I look for the side effects because they're clues to the health. Side effects are
Okay.
only response.
Okay.
And that's what the body's telling you.
So in this way, the side effect is a tool then
Yes.
to help you determine.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So is the flu. When a patient
Okay.
gets flu, I ask them how the flu has come onto them, beginning, middle, and end.
Oh, okay.
Usually the end will tell me what else is going on.
That's interesting. So side effects are indications.
Pain is the best indicator that the body can give us that something's going on.
Interesting.
We want
Wow.
to take something to take away the pain while you take away the response of the body.
Interesting.
Okay. Now, your website is cureme.ca.
Yes.
And again, the people who are watching, who are the people that should really consider getting in touch with you?
Anybody that has an idea that their health is going to be an issue and or is an issue.
So even if someone is feeling well, can you make them more healthy?
We can have a discussion around whether it's necessary or not.
Okay.
Realistically, it takes a long time to get this done.
Yeah.
And the sooner somebody does it, the better off they'll be. But again, a healthy person doing a healthy lifestyles and
Not really needing it.
right. You can always it's there as an option at any point that they need
Yeah.
it.
Well, and people know when they're feeling some sort of irritation or illness or symptoms.
But I think the idea, too, is to not wait till it gets too far, right?
Well, you can always assume that, but I'd rather people know. As an individual, I know when I'm sick, and I know what I need to do that. Before I started this, I knew when I was sick. I knew the cycle that I would go through.
Wow, interesting.
Okay. So, well, thanks for coming in, Dennis.
Well, thank you. It's
And
very educational.
and again, the website cureme.ca. And so if you need to get in touch, there's Dennis right there. So thanks for doing this.
Thank you. Thank you for that information.
Now we're going to come back in a couple of minutes with Danny Gale, piano player and
Yay.
interviewer. And we got some video of Danny right now. We're going to check that out and come back with Danny
I
live
think I still
here
have to
on
make a
Liquor Lunch.
request. It better not be happy birthday. Go figure.